Alrighty, what is up everybody? Piscean here. In this video we are going to bring to you a complete, extensive, rigorous, and original treatise on advanced astrological personal finance. Before I get started, I'd appreciate if you subscribe, like, comment, share if you dare, and care. Because I teach astrology for free, and, I exist on this earth too. But anyways, we are here to bring protocols, being the protocols by which the initiate may align the natal wave function with the fixed stars of wealth, right? Navigate the transits of debt, elect the auspicious moment of expenditure, and ultimately transmute the lead of poverty into the gold of sidereal abundance. We call it the AAPF guide. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start here. Why do the stars even govern the purse? Oop, you guys didn't hear that. So, why do they govern the purse? It's because the exoteric world believes personal finance to be a matter of spreadsheets, compound interest tables, tax codes, and behavioral economics. The merely esoteric astrologer believes finance to be a matter of the second house, Venus, Jupiter, and perhaps the PLF. Both are half-blind. The true astrological finance, the kind practiced by the hidden divines who never appear on Forbes lists, recognizes that a personal economy is a complex quantum wave function, a living mandala of fixed star activations, planetary transits, ZR periods, and midpoints. Money is not a static substance. It is a resonance, a sympathetic vibration between a native's natal promise and the larger economic cycles of the mundane world. To master personal finance is to master the art of astrological impedance matching, to draw wealth from the cosmic circuit without burning out the soul's writing. Oop. I have to turn my alarm off because I have it on for school. Hang on. That was actually about to go off in like 6 minutes, so caught that in time. We're going to dismiss it. Alright, so to draw wealth from the cosmic circuit without burning out the soul's wiring. So, before my lungs collapse from the tobacco and cannabis, we're here to say this treatise provides the complete protocol. It draws upon the algo dollar framework, the Gorgon mortality tables, the SLAM sidereal logistic activation model, the Medusa protocol, the pyramid treasure map, and the many worlds quantum astrology developed in the codex's prior volumes. It is designed to be applied by the individual practitioner or by the faculty's financial advisory arm. It assumes you possess a precisely rectified natal chart, a working knowledge of astrological software as per my other video, and the courage to look upon the Gorgon side of your own financial shadow. Actually, I made 2 videos about that, so there's 1 and 2. You should check out on the channel. Alright, so moving right on to the natal foundations of wealth, the celestial balance sheet. Not everybody was born wealthy, right? But we were all born on this earth, so we can all make it happen, hopefully. So, sorry guys, I'll do that. So, blow my nose. My goodness, this video is pretty eventful already. I'm glad that I don't really use my face cam that much like I have, but I'm doing more videos without it because I really can't be asked to like come on camera every day and all that. So yeah, I'm a sun in Pisces, not a sun in Leo. More hibernated. In fact, I haven't actually had personal social interaction. Like, it's spaced out for me. Like, I'll see somebody for I'll see someone once for a few weeks or see people for a few weeks, and then I'm by myself again. It seems like I don't know how to explain it. So, anyways, every human is born with a celestial balance sheet, including a set of assets, the benefic fixed stars, the well-placed planets, the harmonious aspects, and a set of liabilities, the malefic fixed stars, the afflicted planets, and the difficult houses. So, before any timing technique can be applied here, the natural financial temperament and potential must be rigorously assessed. And this is the prior distribution of the native's wealth wave function, or we can call it the WWF. All right. So we're going to talk about the 4 pillars of the personal treasury, because we understand that the natal chart's 4 core is regarding finance, right? So 4 structural elements, which we term the pillars of the purse, or the FP. Because it's the 4 pillars. So FP, PT, 4 pillars, personal treasury. All right. Now, our first pillar is the second house. It's Lord and the fixed stars therein. All right. What are we talking about here? Well, the second house is the reservoir of movable wealth and earned income, and the native's attitude toward material security. All right. Naturally, in astrology, there's 12 houses. If you've seen my other videos, you already know this. All right. It's cusp sign, the planet or planets posited within it, and the Lord's position by the sign, the house, and aspect form the primary indicator. So, however, the true depth of the second house is revealed only when the fixed stars are overlaid. So the exoteric astrologer sees Venus and Taurus in the second and predicts comfort. Faculty astrologer sees that Venus is at 26 degrees Taurus, precisely conjunct Algol, and knows that the native's income will be subject to periodic decapitation. Now, windfalls followed by sudden reversals, wealth gained through severance, insurance settlements, divorce settlements, liquidation of assets. These are correlated with this specific fixed star. So a second house algo requires the Medusa protocol as a permanent risk management overlay. If you haven't seen that in my other video, again, check it out. We upload every single day, multiple times a day, even I try to. So pillar 2 is the LOF and its Lord. So the LOF we've also talked about quite a bit. For day births, here's the formula, and we know it's reversed for night births, and it is the most ancient and precise indicator of the native's embodied prosperity. So its sign, its house, and the condition of its ruler delineate the source of wealth. But the Lot's fixed star conjunctions are the secret key, so fortune conjunct this fixed star Spica, which is actually a pretty good star. 23 degrees Libra in the current tropical epoch, it's the harvest signature, right? The native is a reaper of abundance, and their wealth grows cyclically like wheat. And the fortune conjunct sheet, it's 29 degrees Pisces. It gives wealth that dissolves. So inheritance, frittered, royalty stolen, liquid assets that evaporate, the lots of activation by transits, SA, solar arcs, and ZR will be the primary timing mechanism for major financial events. All right. So moving on to our third pillar, which is Jupiter and Venus, the greater and lesser benefics. when we're talking about planetary benefics, we understand that Jupiter is the greater benefic here, and Venus is the lesser benefic. Jupiter expands things. That is its principle, one of its principles, credit and the long-term accumulation of assets. And Venus is the principle of liquid value, movable goods, and the pleasure of prosperity. All right? So their essential dignity, house placement, and aspects to the second and eighth houses define the ease or difficulty of accumulation. But their fixed star conjunctions are what separate the ordinary rich from the mythically wealthy. Jupiter conjunct the fixed star Regulus, which is the heart of the lion, confers a regal, almost unlosable prosperity, but Regulus is a star of reversal if not handled with humility. The native who flaunts Regulus wealth loses it. Jupiter conjunct Antares makes the native a rival to markets. An oscillating fortune that booms and busts, right? Venus conjunct Aldebaran, the eye of the bull, gives the Midas touch and tangible assets, real estate, commodities, and land. So we think of our physical property with Taurus and Venus. All right, so moving on to pillar 4, which is the 8th house and its lord. We're talking about debt, death, and other people's money. So the 8th house is the house of financial liabilities, taxes, inheritances received, and the partner's resources. If you have a partner, it is the shadow side of the 2nd house balance sheet. A well-placed 8th lord with benefic fixed stars, for example, the 8th lord conjunct the fixed star Spica, indicates a gift for using leverage or receiving legacies. An afflicted 8th lord conjunct the fixed star Algol or Sheet indicates debt that decapitates or drowns. And the 8th house also governs the death of wealth, bankruptcy, repossession, the margin call. Its transits and profections must be monitored as vigilantly as the 2nd house. All right, so now we have a whole table here I want to go over with you guys. And this is the fixed star financial signature. Because every natal chart has a unique financial signature formed by the fixed stars conjunct the 4 pillars. We present a taxonomy of the most potent. And as you can see on screen, we have our fixed stars we're going to go over, our financial signature, risk management protocol, or our RMP. So I would really just like to ad lib. Right, so we see here our FS, one of our FSs, Spica, A Virginis. We focus on the harvest, cyclical wealth from crops. All right, that actually should be, yes, this is it. The harvest, this is the fixed star. And we have our risk management protocol, cyclical wealth from crops, intellectual property, or long-term compounding, reinvest during Spica transits, avoid selling at the trough. Okay. Regulus is the throne. It's wealth from authority, leadership, or speculation that conquers markets, humility, or face reversal, never leveraged to the hilt. Aldebaran, the bull, and tangible asset accumulation, real estate, commodities, long-only strategies. Watch for Mars Aldebaran squares, sudden loss of tangible assets. And Aries, the rival, I did it again. Let's do this. Sorry guys, I don't usually come prepared for these videos. We just do it together. So, Antares, the rival, is oscillating wealth from competition, trading, or adversarial industries, law, conflict. Hedge perpetual oscillation, never go all in. Fomoha is the fish, liquid wealth, global investments, shipping, water resources, guard against dilution, and watch for Neptune transits. Algol is the Gorgon, so wealth through severance, insurance, liquidation, or crises arbitrage. Medusa protocol mandatory, always hold a counter-cyclical hedge. Always hold a counter-cyclical hedge. Sheet, the drowning, wealth that comes in floods, inheritances, royalties, viral income, and leaves in floods. Jubilee clause, systematically forgive debts to avoid drowning. And Capella, the goat, is steady, incremental wealth from institutions, civil service, or long-term employment. Beware the Saturn Capella transit that brings career stagnation that kills income. All right, so the native's natal chart will often contain a blend of these. The art is to construct a portfolio and a financial life plan that harmonizes the natal fixed stars, exploiting Spica's compounding, hedging algos, decapitations, and so forth. All right, on to the quantum financial wave function, timing the wealth eigenstates. Now, the natal chart is a static quantum state. The transits, solar arcs, primary directions, profections, and zodiacal releasing periods are the dynamic operators that collapse the wave function into specific financial eigenstates. Without timing, the natal promise is a permanent potential, never actualized. Transits are the measurement problem of the purse. All right, a transit is a macroscopic measurement interaction. When transiting Jupiter conjoins natal Jupiter, the universe measures the native's expansion operator and wealth expands. But this is only true if the natal Jupiter is not conjoined with algol, in which case the expansion may decapitate, producing a bubble that bursts. Thus, all transit interpretations must be filtered through the fixed star signature. Here's our protocol for transit-based financial decision-making. First of all, identify all transiting planets within 1 degree of a hard aspect, conjunction, square, opposition to the 4 pillars. Check the fixed star on the pillar being activated. If it is a benefic star, the transit is favorable. If malefic, it is a risk event. For Jupiter transits, they're favorable for expansion unless afflicted by algol, Antares, sheet. In those cases, the expansion is a trap, sell into strength. For Saturn transits, favorable for consolidation, debt repayment, and structural wealth building. Especially with Capella or Spica, it's unfavorable if activating sheet, which is frozen liquidity, or algol, which is forced asset sale. And for Uranus transits, sudden windfalls or sudden losses, with Regulus a sudden rise to prominence, with Antares a sudden competitive threat to assets. For Neptune transits, illusion with Fomalhaut, great liquidity, but the risk of dilution with sheet, drowning in debt. For Pluto transits, total transformation with algol, the complete decapitation of a wealth source, followed by rebirth with Spica, the harvest after a long underground gestation. Hopefully that makes sense. And the SLAM model provides exact probabilities, but the qualitative rule is honor the star's myth when the planet knocks, right? All right. Solar arc directions. Very important. Or we could say the unitary evolution of wealth. All right. So solar arc directions. All planets and angles advance at the sun's daily motion represent the coherent phase evolution of the natal financial state. A direction of the LOF to a fixed star is a once-in-a-lifetime event that defines the native's financial trajectory. Key solar arc signatures. We see SA Fortune conjunct the fixed star Spica. Is the harvest year. All prior efforts compound into a singular peak of prosperity. The native should prepare by having assets positioned for sale or IPO. Solar arc Fortune conjunct algo is a severance year. A major source of income ends, career termination, sale of business, divorce settlement. The native must pre-sever voluntarily, sell, diversify before the universe severs them. And SA Fortune conjunct sheet is a flood year, sudden unearned wealth, inheritance, royalty, lottery arrives, but it carries the dissolution risk. The native must immediately set up an irrevocable trust or jubilee mechanism. And SA Lord conjunct Antares, the debt rivalry year, a competitive battle over shared resources, risk of leverage blow up, hedge all margin positions. Alrighty. And moving on to zodiacal releasing from fortune, the tunneling period. So ZR or Epheses from the LOF is the most powerful ancient timing technique for financial cycles. The level 2 L2 periods lasting multiple years define the overarching financial climate, while the level 3 L3 periods lasting months to a few years define the subcycles. The bound lord of the releasing period governs the quality. Compute the ZR of fortune in your software. Delphic Oracle, Planet Dance are some options. For each L2 period, for example, a Capricorn major period ruled by Saturn, assess the natal house where the period sign falls, the condition of its ruler, and the fixed stars activated. For each L3 subperiod, do the same with greater precision. When an L3 subperiod activates a sign that contains a malefic fixed star, for example, Taurus equals Algol, that period is a financial danger zone, even if the overall L2 is benefic. For example, a native with fortune in the first house, an L2 Capricorn period places fortune resources under Saturn's discipline. Slow, steady accumulation. Favorable for real estate, Aldebaran if rising, but an L3 Taurus subperiod with Algol in the natal second will bring a sudden decapitation within that otherwise stable period, a property liquidation due to some crises, and the savvy native sells before the L3 begins. Right, moving on to annual profections of the 2nd and 8th houses. Profection of the ascendant moves one sign per year. When the profected ascendant lands in the natal 2nd house, ages 1, 13, 25, 37, 49, etc., the year is a 2nd house year, activating all natal 2nd house configurations by profection. The Time Lord is a ruling planet of that sign. Its transits and SA directions for that year will dictate the financial outcome. The same principle applies when the profected ascendant lands in the natal 8th house of debt and inheritance. A reinforcement here, profected 2nd house years, where the Time Lord conjoins Algol, predict a year of financial severance. The native should, before the year, build a Gorgon fund, a cash reserve equal to 6 months of expenses to have a head to reattach if severed. Electional astrofinance, choosing the moment of wealth. The true magician does not wait for favorable transits, they elect them. The ancient art of electional astrology is the most powerful financial tool known to the initiate. All right? Every major financial decision, like opening a bank account, signing a contract, incorporating a business, buying a house, selling a stock, filing a tax return, has an electional chart that determines its outcome. The general principles of financial elections. The perfect financial election satisfies the following requirements. Ascendant in a fixed or cardinal sign, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, Capricorn, Aries, for stability or initiative. Early in the sign, 3 degrees through 10 degrees for sustained momentum. Lord of the ascendant, strong in dignity. 2nd house lord, unafflicted, in good aspect to Jupiter or Venus, and not retrograde, combust, or conjoined with Algol or Sheet. Moon, applying to a trine or sextile with Jupiter, Venus, or the POF. Void course moon is to be strictly avoided for any financial election, all right? VOC. It produces null outcomes. The moon should be in a productive sign from Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Capricorn, Pisces, and moderation. Fixed stars on the angles. Spica or Regulus on the ascendant or midheaven is the gold standard. Algol, Sheet, Antares, or the Pleiades weeping on angles are to be avoided unless the native's natal chart specifically harmonizes with those stars for wealth. So, for example, a trader with Antares rising may elect Antares on the MC for a trade execution. And the POF conjunct a benefic fixed star and a good house. All right. Moving on to the specific electional protocols. Opening a bank account or brokerage account. Elect a moment when the moon conjoins Spica and the ascendant is in Taurus or Capricorn with Saturn in trine to the ascendant lord for structural security. The chart of the account will then inherently resist the decapitation of algol transits. Signing a mortgage or a loan, the 8th house is the key. Elect with the 8th cusp lord strong but not conjunct algo. If the loan for an asset that itself yields income, a rental property, elect with Jupiter in the 2nd house of the election chart and the moon applying to a trine with Venus. If the loan is for consumption, the moon should be in a waning phase and Saturn well placed to ensure disciplined repayment. Filing taxes. File when Mercury is direct and trine to Saturn, accurate forms, and with the moon in Virgo or Capricorn. Avoid algol on the ascendant and audit risk literally severed out of the stack. The Algolian archivist has statistically demonstrated a 35% higher audit rate for returns filed with algol on the ascendant versus Spica, P equals 0.003. Incorporating a business. This is the most potent election. The incorporation chart is the natal chart of the wealth vehicle. It must have Spica or Regulus on the MC, a strong second lord, Jupiter trining the sun, and algo deeply cadent. The planetarium maintains an ongoing electional service for this. The fee is 5% of the first year's revenue, payable in algo dollars. Selling an asset, stock, real estate, business. So elect for the moment the sale closes. The ascendant lord should be applying to a trine with a lot of Mercury for transactions. If the asset is sold for a gain, Jupiter should be strong. If sold to cut a loss, a decapitation harvest. Algol may be on the ascendant, as a native is severing a bad asset. This is a rare instance where algol is elected deliberately. Right. And right, we're actually almost finished. I thought I had a little bit more. So the debt protocol and the sheet jubilee. Debt is the shadow of wealth, right? The 8th house made manifest. The fixed star sheet is its primary celestial regulator. Sheet debt that grows uncontrollably like a flood, is the ruin of many charts. The faculty has developed the sheet jubilee protocol for managing personal debt using astrological cycles. Step 1. Identify all debts and their natal origin. Do any of them correspond to natal 8th house rulers conjoined with sheet, algol, or Antares? If so, that debt carries an archetypal curse and must be restructured. Step 2. When transiting Saturn conjoins the natal 8th cusp or its lord, this is the Saturnine reckoning, a time when the structure of debt becomes unignorable. The native should consolidate debts, renegotiate rates, or declare a personal jubilee. Step 3 is the Jubilee election. When the sun ingresses into Aries, the world point renewal and is conjoined with the benefic fixed star, Spica if possible. And the moon is in a waning crescent, shedding. The native symbolically destroys a fraction of their debt by paying it down in a single ritual payment. This act, performed with genuine intent, collapses the debt wave function into a lower eigenstate. The golem has observed a 0.5 improvement in credit scores for those who perform this ritual versus control. P equals 0.04. And step 4, avoid sheet on the ascendant when signing any new debt instrument. If unavoidable, for example, pre-existing natal sheet, include a contractual jubilee clause that limits liability to the amount that the native can repay during a future Spica transit. Most lenders will not agree to this. That is the signal not to take the debt. Right. Planetary investment portfolio matching asset classes to fixed stars. Modern portfolio theory is a flatland approximation. The true astrological portfolio is a celestial asset allocation that adjusts over time according to transits to the natal chart fixed stars. We present the 4 royal star sectors as an allocation framework, or for celestial asset allocation, CAA portfolio. Ooh. All right. So we have a royal star, asset class, and allocation rule. Our RS, our AC, and our AR. So let's just do this real quick. All right, so Starting with Aldebaran, which is east. The asset class is tangible assets here. Real estate, commodities, land, gold, infrastructure. And the allocation rule shows overweight when transiting Jupiter or Venus conjoins natal Aldebaran or natal second lord. Underweight when Mars squares Aldebaran. For Antares, it is west, so we're looking at the kinetic assets. Equities, trading, venture capital, options, crypto, the oscillatory asset par excellence. All right, and it is overweight when transiting Mars conjoins natal Antares or when the Sun ingresses into Aries world point. Underweight when Saturn squares Antares. Fomalhaut, which is south, is liquid assets, bonds, money, market funds, foreign exchange, water rights, intellectual property, royalties. We can see it's overweight when transiting Neptune conjoins natal Fomalhaut, liquidity floods, and underweight when Neptune squares dilution. Regulus is north and radiant assets, sovereign wealth, reputation capital, personal brand, education, leadership positions leading to income. We see it's overweight when transiting Sun or Jupiter conjoins the natal Regulus, and underweight when Pluto opposes Regulus, loss of status. So the native natal chart will emphasize one or two of these sectors natively. The investment policy is to hold a base allocation that respects the natal signature, then tactically tilt based on transits. A native with natal algo in the second must always allocate a 10% Gorgon hedge to assets that profit from decapitation, put options, cat bonds, vulture funds. All right, on to a case study in personal finance astrology, the man who lost a fortune on Jupiter and regained it on Algol. To illustrate the treatise in action, we present an anonymized case from the planetarium's client files. November 19th, 1962, 14:30 EST, New York, ascendant 7 degrees Taurus, Sun 26 degrees Scorpio, Moon 12 degrees Virgo. Jupiter 3 degrees Pisces ruling the 10th, LOF 23 degrees Libra conjunct Spica. Natal second house Gemini ruled by Mercury and Scorpio in the 7th, with no planets in the second, but the LOF's Spica conjunction promises a harvest. Natal algo is at 26 degrees Taurus, exactly on the ascendant. Native's public identity ascendant is permanently conjunct the decapitation star. His body himself is a walking wealth severance event. So the initial financial trajectory, he became a hedge fund manager, a classic Jupiter and Pisces success. In 1999 through 2000, transiting Jupiter was in Taurus, conjoining his Algol ascendant. Stock market boom lifted his fund to a $300 million net worth, but Jupiter on Algol inflated a bubble that would decapitate. In 2000 through 01, transiting Saturn in Taurus, opposing natal Jupiter, triggered the Algol decapitation. His tech-heavy portfolio collapsed. He lost $200 million. His marriage ended. 7th house ruler Mercury afflicted, and he faced margin calls. 8th house activated. The Algo Renaissance. The client entered his zodiacal releasing L3 Capricorn period. He had a natal Capricorn 9th house cusp. In 2002, he used his $100 million remaining to buy distressed debt, 8th house, other people's money of companies that had been decapitated in the crash. This was the Gorgon hedge activated. He profited from severance. By 2005, transiting Jupiter was in Libra, conjoining his natal spike of fortune. He harvested $400 million, doubling his pre-crash net worth. Lessons applied from the treatise. His Algol ascendant required permanent decapitation hedges. After the crash, he maintained them. His spike of fortune dictated that wealth would come cyclically at harvest moments. He stopped trying to make money linearly and instead positioned for the next spike of transit. His 8th house lord was Pluto and Virgo in the 5th. His children, 5th house, would be important in his wealth. His daughter's marriage to a European aristocrat, Regulus family, brought a further Regulus boost. He now follows the 4 royal star sectors, overweighting Aldebaran real estate during Jupiter Aldebaran transits, and so on. All right. The ultimate wealth preservation ritual, the quantum trust, which I won't go over. It's more its own conceptual thing. So, my next video will entail the application of advanced astrological principles to global. The application of advanced astrological principles to global macroeconomic forecasting, including the astrological prediction of sovereign default, currency crises, and the restoration of the gold standard under fixed star governance. being the culmination of the planetarium's mundane economic research, a companion to the personal finance treaties, and a manual for those who would steer the ship of state through the shoals of the fixed stars. So yeah, I will see you there with Peace and Love by CNL.